When the historian William Shirer began writing his masterpiece, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, he was criticized by some for beginning to write a history of Nazi Germany only a few years after the Reich had fallen. Many scholars believed then, as they do now, that it takes decades for facts to surface and debates to settle. But Shirer deflected the criticism that his work was premature by citing that almost all of the documentary material became available at the Reich's fall. Since the Nazis had kept meticulous records, many of which had been recovered by the Allies after the war, there was a paper mountain of irrefutable evidence upon which Shirer could rely. The mafia, in contrast, has never kept records. Doing so is punishable by death, and this lack of documentary material, especially with regard to the early days of the mafia, has created a void for mafia historians who have attempted to fill in the blanks with imaginative writing more commonly seen in the field of historical fiction. And because the mind and experiences of an academically trained historian are very different from those of a mobster, the blanks have always been filled in from an alien perspective. This is why, when mobsters read mafia books in prison, you hear a lot of, "not true," "bullshit," "give me a break," and "who wrote this crap?" Historians start off with facts and events and must bridge the gaps, which vary in size. To do so accurately, the English philosopher and historian R.G. Collingwood believed that history is interpreted best by people who understand the experiences of the figures responsible for pivotal events. Publishing houses regularly pay homage to Collingwood when they seek out experts to write histories relevant to their expertise. A publisher would not contract me to write a history involving people I know nothing about. Why then do publishers repeatedly commission writers who have never stolen so much as a candy bar, or who have never felt the cold steel of a stiletto, a handgun, or a handcuff, to write histories of the mafia? Because they have never encountered an actual historian who has lived in the mafia's world, spoken their tongue, committed their crimes, drawn their blood, fled justice with them, and served prison time alongside them. I am them, and I am also a historian. Even the seemingly endless shelves of mafia memoirs are written by mob snitches who recite a very biased account of their crimes into the ears of co-authors and ghostwriters who, in turn, add an additional degree of distance from the mobster's mind and the printed page. The snitches, moreover, by evading punishment for the many offenses they have committed and displacing that punishment onto others, have ceded the precious time needed for honest reflection, which ordinarily results in a humility and clarity that none of them seem to possess. The ancient Greeks believed that wisdom is gained through suffering, which speaks to a phrase we often said in prison: "Those who inform never reform." I once faced the remainder of my life in prison, but refused to snitch. I spent many years in a dark, dank prison cell where I fell in love with books and began reading 18 hours a day while teaching myself the writer's craft.